Workplaces can be one of the most toxic environments, not because of the job itself, but because of the people that work in that job. Dark psychology isn't something that you just encounter in relationship. It shows up in offices, boardrooms, and team meetings every single day. And some of us are really unaware of it. And in today's video, we're going to be uncovering the 5 psychology tactics manipulators use at work and how you can spot them and stop them to derailing your career, your confidence, or your mental health. If this is something that you're facing, you're going to need to watch this video. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I hope that you're all doing really well. So I wanted to take a little diversion and let's talk about this in the work scenario. A lot of you have kind of said, or even when I've been in conversations with clients, like, you know, that you think that you're dealing with narcissists, you know, in the workplace, like this is what's happening, this is really tough for you. Of course, I get it. I completely understand. It's not easy. It really is not easy. And I really wanted to explore this in this video. But the workplace can be just as toxic as relationships or family settings. And it's not fair because it can completely derail your career, stop you from progressing, and actually make this really miserable place for you to work. Because let's face it, most of us spend most of our days at work around people. And it's the same as like being in a relationship, because you're spending so much time around these individuals that it completely can make you feel so upset, demotivated, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. Okay, so the one of the things that I wanted to talk about is gaslighting in performance reviews. Now, we all get them at least once a month, or every 3 months, every quarter, or every half a year. One of the most common workplace manipulations is going to be when you're getting your review, your performance review. It basically makes you question your memory, your competence, or your worth. For example, a client of mine worked with, well, let's call her Amira. Okay, that isn't her real name, but let's call her Amira. She was told in her performance review that she lacked initiative, despite, okay, listen to this, despite having led 3 successful projects that quarter. And then they tell you that you're lacking initiative. And it makes you think, really, like, it's really questions yourself and your worth and whether you're remembering things correctly. But when she pointed it out, her boss said, I don't remember it like that. And because that person is in a position of power, it also makes you think, well, they've got it right, I haven't. So you shrink yourself. Well, you have to understand that this isn't just feedback, it's psychological manipulation to make you doubt your reality and accept this unfair treatment. Remember, a person will only be saying this if it benefits them in some way. So if they're narcissistic, if they're toxic in any way, this is about benefiting them in some way. What you've got to do is you've got to spot it. If the feedback doesn't align with your track record, what I would say to you is document everything. Keep receipts, emails, updates, so that the distortions don't stick. Another really common one within workplace is the triangulation between colleagues. Oh yes, my friends, this one has been quite a popular one. And I'm sure that a lot of us have actually felt this as well. Dark psychology thrives on division. A manipulative coworker might praise you to your face, but then behind your back will be speaking ill of you. They could even be talking to the manager about you, saying all these false truths, like often, so that over time it builds up kind of like a profile about you, but we knowing it's a lie. They might even compare you to another teammate, or it will stir up rivalry. And this indeed happened to one of my clients, Daniel. He had a co-worker who constantly said, well, Sarah stays late every single night. You kind of leave on time every single day. You might want to do the same if you want to get that promotion. So what that does do, it is creating competition between 2 colleagues, between 2 people, basically saying, well, you know what, Daniel, you are no good. Sarah, she does above and beyond. So there is that expectation, there is that bar that is set. Of course, if you're doing overtime, you're staying late, you're not getting paid for that. But then again, if it's something that you love, you won't mind. It's not an expectation that you need to be doing all the time. But it was something that was said that basically Daniel needed to work harder. The point here is, if you start hearing constant comparisons, ask yourself, whose agenda does this serve? Mine or theirs? Healthy workplaces don't pit colleagues against one another. There is no competition. You are you, you are you. That's great. If you can stay behind, great. Like, really appreciate it. If not, that's okay. It's not about comparing the two if it's a healthy workplace. Another one that you'll find that is quite common, which is also compare in relationships, where love bombing, and then they withdraw their support. So at the beginning, they can be really, really lovely, offering support, being kind, offering a lot of time, explaining, and just like in personal relationships, manipulators at work will be using love bombing. They might even give you gifts, more support, and then they will withdraw it. And what it does do is it scrambles you and it leaves you wanting their approval. So you've already attached onto that person wanting the approval from that colleague. What you've got to notice here is if this praise feels inconsistent, or at times when you've done something good and it benefits your colleague, basically meaning that it's conditional. The real recognition is steady. It's not a tool for control. And this is what you've got to look out for. This is what you've got to see it as, is something that happens consistently. The other power play is information withholding. Knowledge is power, okay? I've always said this in every single live, every single video, most videos. Knowledge is power, okay? Particularly in the workplace. Manipulators know this. So if they withhold crucial information or details that will basically make you fail, it will keep them in control. It means that they control the narrative. It means that they control the experience that you have. So it's all about them winning and you losing. Indeed, happened to a client of mine, Mark. He was left out of, if I remember this correctly, he was left out of email chains about a project that he was leading. How bad is that? He didn't basically get the emails about a project that he was leading. And his colleagues would then swoop in at the meeting saying, oh, didn't you know? I guess you'll take care of it. So gaslighting all the time, withholding information. And basically, like in personal relationships, withholding information, you stop having the whole picture in front of you. Okay, because you don't have all of the information. So how can you make the right informed decisions if you don't have the information in front of you? And this is the issue. This is the issue. When you don't have the truth, the information, how can you make a decision, informed decision about you and about what's right going forward? You can't. Manipulators know that. So what you got to remember is, if you're constantly the last to know, that's not an accident. Okay, it's a strategy. So start asking direct questions. Okay, and it means that you're going to have to be proactive and ask to be kept in the loop and have all of the communication in writing. Another tactic that has been really, really powerful is shame and public undermining. This is a more aggressive form of manipulation, and that's public shaming. That's like literally calling you out in front of your colleagues, in front of the whole office, or telling you that you've done something wrong or something untoward or you're underachieving in front of everybody else. Okay, it's really embarrassing. Do you know what? This has been done to me. Like, I have also had a really toxic workplace where I worked at, and what happened, I'll just briefly share it. Okay, so basically when I worked at the hospital, I had just finished my master's in clinical psychology, and I was working on the ward, and this girl, I was kind of like a little bit above her because I was working with dementia patients, and I was leading the whole project on sensory items or sensory therapy for people with dementia. And she was, I think she was like an occupational therapist, so she didn't work in the psychology aspect, but our roles did overlap. Because of my higher position, I kind of like was able to tell her what to do or what I wanted. Not that this was a power game or anything like that. It wasn't a competition, but I guess she didn't like that. After a few months, a position came available where she applied for. They asked me to apply for this as well, but I was kind of putting my papers forward for my doctorate, so I didn't apply for this role. And instead, what I did was kept the same role because I really enjoyed it. I was really invested in it. And do you know how bad this is? Because nobody else applied for the role. It was only her. Don't know how it happened. She got it, obviously. And then her position was either equal to mine or above mine. And what happened is she ended up micromanaging me. How many times in front of people she would put me down and tell me like I'm not doing the right thing. And it was all like in the multidisciplinary team in front of doctors, nurses on the ward. So it made me feel like that small. But that's the issue. It was about lowering my confidence and establishing dominance. She even micromanaged me. Like I remember she would go looking for me on the wards. Now, because of the ward, the floor that I was on with older healthcare, like it was a whole floor. I could have been anywhere on any ward, but she would make it a thing that everybody would kind of ask or know what I was doing. So she got like a group of people to then ask, oh, Anushka, what are you doing? Where are you? Can you report to so-and-so? It was an absolute disaster. And you know what? I ended up leaving in tears. I actually left in tears. It was horrible. So I do understand those of you that are going through this is horrible. Okay, and the thing that you've got to understand is that feedback should happen in private. Public criticism basically is all about control. You know, there is an etiquette, there is a respect. You don't do it in front of everybody. You just don't, but some people do because it's all about control. Okay, so here's the takeaway. In the workplace, it's not always going to be obvious. And you're always going to be trying to put your best foot forward, trying to impress. It will hide behind professionalism. But if you look closely, you'll see the patterns of gaslighting, triangulation, love bombing, withholding, and shaming. And these are all toxic behaviors. The good news is once you spot these tactics, you can protect yourself. So I hope that in this video, you are able to use these strategies and it has helped you to kind of understand this in a completely different way and that you can use these strategies. Document everything, set boundaries, and remember, you're not imagining it. If it feels wrong in there, it is true and it is happening. And again, my friends, please know that I do offer one-to-one consultations. Please see the description box below. You know, I would love to hear from you. So if you've ever spotted manipulation at work or you would like to share your experiences, again, please put them in the comments below because I do read your comments. Please share this video, give it a like if it has resonated. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.